So before we get to the subject of this video, which is the walking embodiment of weird that is JD Vance, I wanted to let everyone know that I'm going to be doing some exclusive members-only content here on the channel. I've already put out part 1 where I'm reading from Hillbilly Elegy. I'm rereading the book again. I'm going to rewatch the movie again because now that we know more about JD Vance, I definitely want to go back and revisit that. The first video that I did was about the Appalachian stereotypes and the way that I feel like the book definitely cashed in on those. So if you haven't already, be sure to check out our memberships here on the channel, and if you like it, try it on for size, and we hope you enjoy it. But JD Vance is weird, and I'm going to start off right here with this clip. First of all, he's sitting between these cases of Happy Dad seltzer. Now, I don't have anything necessarily against seltzers. It took me a long time to warm up to trying one. Finally did, and I actually tried a Happy Dad. I did. The grape one tastes like Dimetap cough syrup that I took back when I was a kid. If there's a better flavor out there, let me know. I'm open-minded. But for whatever reason, he decided to just sit like this in front of a bunch of Happy Dads and talk about how he don't know why that Kamala Harris is calling him weird. I mean, I'm a normal guy. Take a look.
Do you take what sometimes the media says about you personally? Like, I don't know if you saw that. There was like a whole clip of like people calling you weird. Did you see that? It was like a clip of like,
I certainly know the Kamala campaign wants to call me weird. But
yeah, but I'm wondering why that word, and because like it was on like it was like clipped on like 1,000 different media outlets. Like they were all using the same word.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's like something they focus grouped and decided to push on us. I mean, like I'm a pretty normal guy. I've got a wife and kids, and I like to hang out and watch football. And
I feel like we owe Ron DeSantis an apology. I really thought Ron DeSantis was the most cringeworthy, awkward candidate ever. But he didn't even clear the door until J.D. Vance ran in and said, "I'll take it from here, Ronnie. I got you." I mean, this is the weirdest candidate I do believe I've ever seen. And in this next clip, he talks about how he got the call from Trump and how his heart was beating out of his chest, but his son just wouldn't quit talking about Pokemon. And there's so many reasons why that this is funny, and it's also sad at the same time. Take a look.
So I call Trump, and I'm like, "Hey, sir, what's going on?" He's like, "JD, you missed a very important phone call. And now I'm going to have to pick somebody else." And I like tense up and almost have a heart attack. And the crazy thing about it is my son, who's 7, is in the hotel room with me. And he's really into Pokemon cards right now. He's going through a Pokemon phase. Are you guys into Pokemon?
I was back in the day.
Okay,
Yeah,
That's a big phase right now, I think, in general.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's really into it. So he's trying to talk to me about Pikachu. And I'm on the phone with Donald Trump. And I'm like, "Son, shut the hell up for 30 seconds about Pikachu. This is the most important phone call of my life. Please just let me take this phone call."
Okay, the sad part right out of the gate is that he would talk to his kid that way. But the funny part about this is that there are ministers right here in my part of the world. Pastor Greg Locke, who's not far from me, he goes on and on about Pokemon and how evil and demonic that it is. There are so many preachers in my part of the world that spend so much of their time talking about witchcraft and talking about Pokemon and talking about Harry Potter and talking about rock and roll and all this. And I wonder if Greg Locke has heard that J.D. Vance lets his kids, get into Pokemon, because that could be a deal breaker for some people here in this part of the world. It's so over-the-top ridiculous, folks. It truly is. But old J.D., he's just getting warmed up, because here he says that when he got vetted, he said that they asked him if he had, well, hell, I'll just let you watch it. This is ridiculous.
A few months ago, people start saying, "I think Donald Trump may choose you as VP." And I'm like, "No way. There's no way it's going to happen." And then like a couple months later, they start doing vetting, which is a totally bizarre experience. By the way, we could talk the whole time about vetting. So like, for example, a lawyer comes to your house, asks you the most intrusive questions imaginable, right? And my wife's sitting there. We have 3 kids upstairs asleep. And at one point, the lawyer is like, "Well, I'm going to ask some uncomfortable questions." And I'm like, "Okay, have at it." And he goes, "Do you have any secret family?" And I'm like, "Are you serious? Do I have any secret family? Like, what do you mean?" He said, "Well, sometimes people will have like, another spouse, and they'll have like other kids in a place like Alaska." I'm like, "Dude, I've never even been to Alaska. Of course I don't have a secret
You're
family."
getting grilled by the lawyer and your wife at the same time.
Exactly. Oh, by the way, if I did, I'm not going to admit it in front of my wife now. Like, it's one of those questions where if you've gotten to that point in your life and you're such a dishonest person that you have a secret family in Alaska, I think that most people would just, I assume, hide it at that point.
So if he does have a family in Alaska, he's not going to admit it in front of his wife. I love how he says that, because right there he's trying his damnedest to do an impression of Trump. Trump could have said that same line and his base would have just went with it, But when JD says it, it comes off so cringe because you can tell that he's trying to imitate Trump and his over-the-top stupidity, and JD just falls flatter than a plate full of piss. It's so embarrassing to watch this guy dig his heels in deeper. But my question for you is this, folks. Would it matter if JD Vance had a family in Alaska? Would it matter if Trump had one? Would it change one person's vote in MAGA land? And it's kind of funny to me that they would vet Donald Trump's running mate. That's like vetting Charles Manson's bass player, you know? Like, who are we going to let play in Charlie's band here? What kind of person are we going to let come along and sing with the girls? I mean, but all jokes aside, this dude is an extremist, okay? And this dude is somebody we need to be paying attention to, because if Donald Trump were to get reelected and something were to go south with Donald Trump, J.D. Vance is the president of the United States, and J.D. Vance is this extreme. Take a look.
Should a woman be forced to carry a child to term after she has been the victim of incest or rape?
Look, my view on this has been very clear, and I think the question betrays a certain presumption that's wrong. It's not whether a woman should be forced to bring a child to term, it's whether a child should be allowed to live, even though the circumstances of that child's birth are somehow inconvenient or a problem to the society.
So yeah, we can sit here all day and we can laugh at how awkward and weird J.D. Vance is. We can talk about how that he's so awkward he makes Ron DeSantis look like James Dean or Elvis. But the truth of the matter is, this guy is an extremist. And what he's saying there is, well, I'm sorry you were inconvenienced. Sorry you're inconvenienced, but I'm the one that should make decisions for you and your body. That's what he's saying to the women. That's how insulting and that's how extreme he is. He's a mediocre white dude trying to make decisions for a woman and saying, sorry for the inconvenience, but let me make that decision. Listen, I have my thoughts on abortion. Everyone does. And I don't know of anyone that likes it. That's the kicker. I don't know of anyone out there who loves the concept of it. It is a sad situation no matter how you slice it. It's a tragic situation no matter how you slice it. But my personal feelings on it are absolutely irrelevant. My personal feelings means nothing in the story. If a woman says to me, Brando, I don't want to carry your child to term, then that's just something I have to deal with. Doesn't mean I like it. Not saying it wouldn't bother me. Not saying I wouldn't have emotions or feelings about it. Of course I would, but it's not my decision to make. I'm not the one that gets to make that call. The government is not the one that gets to make that call. The woman is the one that gets to make that call. It's her decision and it's her right. And it's been unjustly stripped away, and people like J.D. Vance wants to double down on it and take it even further. And to anybody out there going, well, both sides are the same, man. They both lie. They both bullshit. Okay, both sides do lie and bullshit from time to time. Not gonna sit here and tell you that a Democrat has stuck to the truth 100% of the time. Not going to tell you that. But what I can tell you is that Vice President Kamala Harris is going to be fighting for women, and she's going to be fighting for people that doesn't just look and sound like her. She's going to be fighting for all of America and bringing us all together. And she's going to be there to restore the rights that have been unjustly stripped away from women. So you know what? I'll pay a little bit more for a bag of chips if I have to. If somebody came down right now on a crystal ball and said, hey, Brando, you're going to have to pay a little bit more at the beer store, buddy, but your daughter's going to get her reproductive rights back, I'd say, yeah, I'll pay a little bit more for the past blue ribbon. I don't drink PBR, but I'm just saying. That's where we're at, folks. We're at a point where, again, we can laugh at this guy all day long for his stupidity and his awkwardness and his weirdness, but we have to pay attention to his extremism. That's what we really have to keep our eye on the ball. And I'm going to be doing more members-only content where I read from Hillbilly Elegy. I'm going to hold my nose and continue to plow through it. And I may go back and watch the movie one more time so we can talk more about it. So if you guys want to check that out over on Members Only, try out a membership for a month, see how you like it. If you like it, stick around. And if you don't, I understand times are tough. I'm not here trying to grift or sell you a pair of gold shoes or sell you a Bible with my name on it. Just pushing more content out there into the world and just trying to talk about the crazy world that's around us. So you guys take care, have a good one, and let's all stay focused on this election, folks.